right, so let's go ahead and look at the first two versions of QuickBooks Online, their most basic versions. That would be the Self-Employed and the Simple Start. Understand, Self-Employed is really only geared towards sole proprietorships and freelancers. So very limited on what is actually in that package. Obviously, you can track your income and expenses. And then it has a few more features that you can do in the self-employed version. For instance, you can take your receipts, take a picture of them, and upload them straight into QuickBooks. They're organized for you right there, and the AI feature within QuickBooks can actually view that and categorize those for you. So that's a great feature. Just so you know, that feature is in all of the programs of QuickBooks Online, but it is also in the self-employed, so that's a great feature to have there. Also, you have within that self-employed version, since it's geared toward more of the sole proprietorship and freelancers, they have a portion within the program for calculating estimated taxes. Actually, that is really only in this version of QuickBooks Online. It's a great feature, especially when you have to pay your quarterly taxes. It will calculate that for you so that you can continue to pay that to the IRS on a quarterly basis. Understand that in the self-employed version, the reports that are generated are very basic. In fact, it doesn't really even have a balance sheet. Obviously, most companies are used to seeing a balance sheet. Sole proprietorships and freelancers typically don't run balance sheets, and so that feature and that report in QuickBooks isn't in there. So that's limited there. However, it does allow you to track your mileage, which is very important for small businesses to be able to take that deduction on your tax return. Understand that that is also in all of the versions of QuickBooks Online, but it is definitely in the self-employed, so that's definitely a good thing to have there. So, like I said, self-employed is very basic. It doesn't have a lot of features beyond that. However, if you're doing a sole prop or you're doing freelance work, this is a great product. You don't need anything else. You don't really need to track a balance sheet. It gets your information to your tax accountant so that you can file your taxes at the end of the year. So it's a great product. No sense spending the extra money to move up. So if that's you, stay in the self-employed. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start looking at Simple Start. This really is the basic version of QuickBooks for companies. Like I said before, self-employed is really geared for sole props and freelancers, very limited. And so now we are actually getting into the flagship products of QuickBooks Online. So in Simple Start, just like all the other versions, we do have the ability to track income and expense transactions, but we're also now adding invoicing and payments, which is your accounts receivable, accounts payable, adding your customers, adding vendors. And so you'll be able to track all of that within Simple Start. We'll also be able to connect with your accountant. You can have up to 2, and so you can have a tax accountant and maybe a bookkeeping accountant. They'll be able to have access into your QuickBooks. This is in all of the features of QuickBooks Online except for self-employed. So now we're starting to build on that. We'll also have the ability to capture our receipts just like in self-employed and track our miles, but we will also be able to do sales tax and track all of our sales through e-commerce. Very important if you're doing online shopping, maybe selling products in Shopify or Amazon. You definitely need this simple start. You won't be able to use self-employed for that because now you're able to connect up with your certain third-party apps, Shopify, Etsy, etc. You'll also be able to do cash flow within your QuickBooks now. And this is great. You can do QuickBooks payments to help with your cash flow that can get connected up. You can also do estimates besides actually sending out invoices. This is great if you're part of a company that generates estimates for people, then you will be able to do that. And lastly, you'll be able to track your contractors so that at the end of the year, you'll have all the information that you need to generate your 1099, whether or not you do that within QuickBooks, which obviously you can, or if you hand it to your accountant, they will have all the information they need so that they can fill out and send your 1099 to stay in tax compliance. So that's simple start. As far as the reports, you now are building on some of the most basic reports. So you'll have your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow, but then you'll also have reports for customers and vendors. You won't have the full set of reports. They do kind of build as we get moving forward, but you will have a lot more reports than what is in the self-employed version. So there is the lowest tier of your QuickBooks Online products. You have your self-employed and your simple start. If those meet your needs, stay in those products. If not, then in our next lesson, we're going to look at the two that are in the mid-tier portion of QuickBooks Online.
I gotcha.